Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So I'm glad that you came, and I'm going to share a brief history of one society. Maybe next time I do the other party. So there were two missional organizations created in England. One was from universities called UMCA, University Mission to Central Africa, and the other one was a result of the revival which took place in London called Church Missionary Society. Today, I'll focus on this university organization, which is University's Mission to Central Africa. It's very unfortunate, in our country, no one intended to come to Tanzania. Just the location helps the Tanzanian to find themselves that they have a chance to listen to the gospel. But this organization planned to go to Malawi, not to Tanzania. So that's what happened. The other one was planning to go to Uganda. So no one was planning to come to Tanzania. You see? So the key players to evangelize or to Christianize Tanganyika or Tanzania was UMCA and CMS, as I said earlier. And UMCA, the members were, from these universities, from the Oxford, Cambridge, Durham, and Dublin. These people were Catholics, but they refused to be under Pope. So when the king rebelled the Pope, they wanted to continue to be Catholic, but not under Pope. So UMCA was founded in response to the plea of Dr. Livingstone. He went to several universities to tell them how they need missionaries to come to Africa and to help people in Africa to establish churches or to know Jesus. So UMCA was founded as a response to this lecture of Dr. David Livingstone. The mission grew up to become, under the bishop, but the bishop of Zanzibar and Nyasaland, later Nyasaland became Malawi. It's very interesting because the Lake Nyasa is kind of a border for Tanzania and Malawi. If you go to Malawi, they call it Lake Malawi. If you go to Tanzania, we call it Lake Nyasa. The same lake. But previously, the Malawian thought the whole lake is theirs. So there was some dispute who owned the lake. And also, the society, as I said, was inspired by this preaching of Dr. Livingstone. When he came back from Africa, he came to Africa as an explorer to explore what they wanted to see, how to navigate in this huge continent, how to get there, how to get some raw materials, to get some luggage or some stuff back to England. Remember, this was after the English or Industrial Revolution in Europe. So they need a lot of raw materials to feed their industry. So they have to go and explore where will they get these materials. But also the population grew. The demand was getting bigger and bigger. But also there were some people who just wanted to join this team to send the gospel to Africa, even if they were not part of the university faculty, or not even a student, but they wanted to support whoever wanted to go to send the gospel to Africa. The society, when they start, they have kind of two, maybe three goals. One was to establish a mission presence in Central Africa, but their goal was to go to Malawi. For them, Central Africa, the station should be in Malawi, and they were following, actually, they were following rivers. They were to navigate, because there was no road, there was no highway. How will you go from one point to the other point? So the river was the easiest way to follow You follow the river, then you go to the mainland, you come back to the river, then you go. It was like that. Even they followed River Nile from Middle East to East Africa. They just followed the river. There was no road. But also, this particular time, there was a big campaign to stop slavery. And it was very interesting because Islam did not enslave their fellow Islam. If you want to avoid slavery, you become a Muslim. But also, the missionary centers were where people who did not want to become slaves, they ran into the Christian mission to be safe. It was a safe haven for people who did not want to become slaves.
Sanctuary.
Oh, it's a sanctuary, yes. And so sometimes these missionaries has to employ some guns to give these people who don't want to become slaves. You have to fight for yourself. So some missions, they had guns to fight those traders of slaves. And then, I don't know, they were kind of a tug of war between mission centers and slave traders. They were fighting. They want to catch up people, and they know you have to arm yourself to protect yourself. So it was, I don't know how to call it. It was so chaotic. A priest giving a gun to someone who don't. Yeah, but also, as I say, they chose Malawi to go there, and they thought that would be a better station for them. But the challenges in this mission work was a disease called malaria. There was a lot of parasites, so it caused a lot of death. Indigenous and those missionaries who went there. But also, very few people responded to this new faith because the local tradition, a disease is a punishment from God. But if your God cannot stop this disease, he's not a good God, so we don't trust you. So the very few people believed these people because they failed their God because people were dying from malaria. So they stopped believing in this Christian God. Then they have to think what to do it. But also there was a famine, another problem. There was a famine, there was a drought, there was not enough food. The same question, can your God provide for us? If he doesn't, no, we don't want your God. Because how can we suffer if you say your God is great God? So that was another challenge. And but also the shortage of supplies. You know, the sheep in those days used coal, the engine to push. So it took so long for them to get supplies. So being in Malawi, there was no direct river from the sea to go to Malawi. They have to go through some hills and valleys and to enter to the Lake Nyasa, then navigate to Malawi. So it was not easy anymore.
So the Nile goes right?
Nile goes from to East Africa. Malawi is in almost northern South Africa, northern Mozambique. Malawi is northern Zimbabwe, is in Central Africa.
What I was asking is then it was easier for them to get
to East Africa. Yeah, because in Tanzania, they can use the sea to come to Tanzania. No, Nile to go to Uganda. Uganda, Ethiopia, Sudan, and other countries that between. But to come to Tanzania, you can come by the sea. You can use a boat or ship or whatever. Yeah. But also, if you come to by the River Nile, you can go to Uganda and then come down through the Lake Victoria. You can come to Tanzania. Yeah. So they have to change a plan. So they withdrew from this area, and it's very interesting. They say they are abandoning the graves of missionaries who had died there because it was like this caused the problem to us. We don't want to do it anymore. So abandoning the graves for Africans was not that easy. It meant a lot of them that these people are not good people. We don't want to associate with them. So they have to leave that place. It was kind of a ghost town, a ghost street. No one went there. and they established a new presence in Zanzibar. So Zanzibar was easier from all parts of the world to go to Zanzibar because Zanzibar is an island. So they went back to Zanzibar, and Bishop Mackenzie was the first bishop who were ordained in England. So he used to work in Zanzibar and also went to start his new station in Malawi. But because of the malaria, he died also. And some missionaries died. So there was no way to continue. So his successor, called Toza, relocated the society based to Zanzibar in 1864. And they enjoyed much greater success, you see, because they were received by people there. People welcomed them in the island, and the Arabs and Africans, they received them. They wanted to live with them happily. So they established a number of operations, including mission school for slaves who were running away from the Arab slave traders or British or whoever was going there. But this time, particularly the Arabs continued slave trade, but the British had a huge campaign against slavery. So they received these young boys and girls in their school who were running away from slavery. So they have to start a school, but also to build a community for settlement. So first church workers in Tanzania were slaves. They are not happy people who went to study somewhere. No, they were slaves who ran away or were bought by the British. So Tanzanian church, founded by slaves, not free men. And when they built settlement, they tried now to convert more people, to invite more people to join them. Instead of going to the mainland, Tanzania, they kept them there, taught them how to read and write, and then they become first missionary to indigenous people. And so on Christmas Day, 1873, the foundation of this first church was laid in the ground where formerly was a slave market. But they stopped slavery. So that area was also like, no one wants to be there because people used to die there. Blood was shed there. So this land was kind of abandoned. But this missionary were crazy enough to say, yes, we need this land. We want to start a church here in this land where everybody doesn't want to go. And this one was the church built. Yeah, it's one of the oldest building in our country. It's UNESCO heritage.
Oh,
yeah, so we cannot remove it or change it without their permission.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, so after this, then they continued their mission to the mainland. They started church in Malawi. They continued. They went back to Malawi after some kind of improvement in medicine. So they were able to treat malaria. They were able to support indigenous people, to train them to become evangelists, then to become priests. It was until early 60s, late 60s, then first Africans became priests and bishops.
1960s.
1960s. Before that, it was all the British.
So 100 years before.
Yeah.
Indigenous people.
Yeah. Yeah. So, any questions so far?
So the Cathedral Church is established in Zanzibar.
Yeah.
And they went back.
It was the first diocese, right, to be established in Tanzania. Yeah, it was called Zanzibar and Tanga. This is what we're talking about.
That was my question.
Yeah.
Was what about Tanzania?
Yeah.
Tanga.
Yeah, Zanzibar and Tanga, because we are talking with the UMCA. the UMCA, their mission was in a coastal area where it was navigable for them, because Tanga is a harbor, Dar es Salaam is a harbor, and the other side in the south there's Mtwara, is also another harbor. So they use sea to travel out and in. So it was easier for the UMCA to do their mission work in this particular area. Then after years, they went to Malawi. But in Malawi also you use the Lake Nyasa. So it was a bit of trouble to travel within a piece of land before they get into the lake. This was the UMCA. And next week we'll talk about the CMS, the revival, because they have different ideas how to convert Christians. You know, these ones, they were scholars, they were Catholics. Their main focus was, how do we worship God? You see, all we see with Roman Catholic, I don't know, maybe they're different in the US here, but services in Tanzania led by Catholic or this Anglo-Catholic is so much decorated. They call themselves high church. This is the high church. So the UMCA are the ones who started the high church. The CMS, the evangelicals, started the low church. So we'll be able to see that next time.
So are you saying Anglo-Catholic or Roman Catholic?
Anglo-Catholic.
Okay, Anglo-Catholic, those were Anglicans who were high church.
Yeah.
But not Roman Catholics.
No. They.
These churches.
Yeah.
Church of England people are founding these churches.
Yeah.
And you say inherited the cathedral.
It's in part of the first. Oh, you mean
This is the first Anglican diocese.
Yeah, and they still
They're still there. Yeah, they said this.
UNESCO historic site, the United Nations.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I didn't understand.
Yeah, they said the world inheritance. It's no longer yours. It's the world inheritance, because it's built in the land where there used to be a slave market, and they have some, statues of how slaves were. It's ugly. I didn't want you to to disturb your heart. This is Sunday. Should be happy, people. Yeah. So that's it for today. And maybe Jemima would like to share his whatever. Got a few minutes here.
Jemima, what would you like to say?
You can say it in Swahili if you want. I can interpret for them. Whatever is your choice.
Okay. Yes, yeah, I have ministry which I am going to my country. Yes, so I have vocation and training center there. And maybe Nchimbi can show you the pictures for a few minutes.
This is one of the trade. This is a driving school for the girls and boys. For a long time, driving was for men. So we are also changing that. So there are some girls and boys are learning to drive. This is old Suzuki.
So are you teaching them to drive?
Yeah.
To drive for their personal stuff, or to have a taxi business?
To have a taxi, to use Uber, just to create an employment.
Okay.
For us, driving is not as you do here just for yourself.
Not everybody drives.
You learn it in order to get some employment, to drive other people's cars.
Right.
And this is kind of a general assembly. Last time it was 200 students. We didn't have a picture for them. So this is like, the general assembly. And yeah, this is the class. This is a general for everybody. We have a worship in the morning. A priest wife, they start with worship in the morning. Here, they include the Muslims and those non-religious people, religious. They're all invited to join this school. We do not refuse anyone unless he doesn't want to study, but that's it. But you can see these are from different backgrounds. Some of them are from the broken family, some of them from the street boys, some of them orphans from, you know, HIV or whatever. Their parent died for HIV, and others, those were rejected in schools because of whatever behavior they had, but also some of them did not have either fees or something happened, they did not continue with formal education. So it's just a lot of mixture here. Some of them, if you tell them stop doing this, they can just go home. So we have to take care of them like, you know, a parent. So that's what she does. They speak to them every morning to make sure they can get something for their own. Yeah.
What is their age range?
Approximately. Age.
Miaka yao ni hiyo.
16 up to 20, up to 35.
Oh, okay.
15 up to 35.
15 to 35.
Yeah.
Somehow, you know, they need to find that school because in the, you know, we take them from the village, most of them from the village, from poor family. This is a day where they do exercise. And this is a computer class, but they have to use typewriter, old typewriter.
Those are that's what we learned on.
I thought I had it made when I got home.
And I was amazed. I taught typing for a while. I was amazed when the first electric type.
Wow.
And then when this electric came out.
Yeah,
Oh, yes, yes.
yeah. One I remember was called, brand name was Brother.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah.
When I went to seminary, I had saved all my money and I went with my father and I bought a $300 Brother personal typewriter.
Wow.
I had a lot of money. So 2 years later, my little sister starts college
Okay.
and she buys for the same price a keyboard.
Oh no. So this is our computer class. We don't have many because you can see many people using one computer. Yeah, because we don't have many, because sometimes the virus destroys the system and we don't have much way of protecting them from virus. And some people, they come there with their flash or they go to all kind of webs, you know, student cannot control them. So they bring some stuff which destroys the computers. So this is a computer class.
You don't have like well, do you have Wi-Fi there? Or
We do, but it's provided by a telephone company. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is another.
And so the viruses then come with the
flash drive?
Yeah. When they put to take any kind of information, then they bring those kind of problems. But you know, so many. This we got this in. Oh, it's not clear. This is a machine it's a brick making machine for the mason student. They learn how to make bricks using this machine. You see?
So they learn how to make bricks as well as put bricks together, the masonries.
Yeah.
And are they mud bricks?
These are cement, concrete.
It's concrete.
It's concrete. It's concrete. And you remember, I think with them, when they do their studies, before they go, we apply for them to go to do field work in other construction companies. So they become like assistant to assist the mason professionals, and then they become builders themselves. They become masons themselves for sometimes. For smaller projects, they can do it by themselves, but a big a building like this one, they have to be kind of assistant to the
Apprenticeship.
yeah, apprenticeship. Yes.
And the girls.
These are the girls, the 4 girls in the entire course, and Jemima went there to make them proud.
I can imagine when some of the young men saw that picture like that, they were saying, introduce me to the one on the land.
Here now they're digging, they want to build a building, so they're from the scratch. They're digging to lay a foundation for the building. Yeah. this now they're making, this would make a roof.
Trusses, yeah.
Trusses. Oh, you know them, you know. You see? Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, they had nothing when they came, but now they can do this. Yeah. Yeah.
You had quite a vision for this school that you were setting up.
Yeah. And this class is for electricity, those are the domestic electricity. Those apply, they small, just only for building. We don't go to green when they want to join Tanesco or the big electricity company, they have to go to some other training. But this one is only for the domestic electricity. Yeah. So this is the class. And that's it. But unfortunately, we have this challenge now that between now and March next year, we will have to find a place because the owner of the building, they saw Jemima is kind of progressing. They say, we need our building back. We want also to start the training. So from next year, I don't know what we're going to do, but we are praying. I don't know if God answers this kind of prayers. We need to build our own classes.
So the building that you were in, that you worked in for 20 years, and they said you couldn't use it?
Yeah.
You couldn't use the typewriters. Now they've sold the building? So
They want to do this, they want to do other courses because, you know, our town now is a capital city. There's a lot of kind of demand. They're assuming they can start other courses like, you know.
Oh, so they want to keep that.
They want to keep the building. They're not selling. They want to be there, but to run other courses. And oh, we have other class for painting. Where are they? We have the other class for painting. Maybe we show you next time. There was a class for painting.
Painting
portraits
or painting walls?
Painting walls.
In houses.
In the houses, yeah. So there's a lot going on. Sometimes it's the market decide what kind of a training.
Yeah.
Sometimes we train housemaid, just to be a housemaid. I will be a houseboy. How do you take care of a child, take care of a house, whenever the emergency, where do you call? The parent live with their child, they go away for some time. How do you do what when emergency happens? And cookery, we do also class for cookery. So it's always, when we find there's a need for young people to learn skills, we introduce that course. We look for professionals or teachers, they come and they run this kind of courses. But also we do welding. We apply for the certificate to train people for welding, tailoring, and other few courses which young people need, because even universities cannot employ everybody nowadays. Also university graduates, they come down, they say, can also learn this. Yeah, so there's a big demand. But, you know, Jemima used to work with this in the same buildings before she became redundant. So the diocese employed her for, was it 20 years? 20 years. And then they say, we don't need you because we are not going, these courses are useless. We're just wasting of time. So since Jemima used to have these girls and boys, she was very sad. Then we have to start this course again for Jemima to be happy. So we went to them, asked them if we can rent these buildings. Then they said, yeah, we can rent. But now they say, you know, we did some renovation. They look good now, but they say now we need our buildings back. So we can't stop it theirs. But we see.
Are you considering building your own?
Yeah.
To get the funding?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we are
And
thinking.
would you use your own students for building?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah. 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 Because when Jemima told me that, I said, but they will be gone. I said, no, we keep contact with them. We'll call them back. So thank you so much for coming and listening to us. And
the third,
Thank you.
thank you, yes. The third class that Father Michael and Jemima will be teaching is the week after after Easter. So nothing on Palm Sunday.
Okay, yeah.
Which is next week, the 2nd.
Yeah.
Nothing on Easter Day, which is the week after that, the 9th. So the 16th is
Yeah.
the third class.
Yeah. Remember, we'll be doing CMS, this Church Missionary Society.
Missionaries.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.